Hi, my name is Kaleia and this is my knitting podcast. I'm back with another episode. It's been kind of a while. I haven't really had much to show, so I've kind of been waiting until I have something interesting, some finished objects and some interesting whips to show off, and today's that day. So it'll just be another standard episode with all of my finished objects, whips, acquisitions. I have some kind of interesting things to show today, so I'm really excited. As you can tell, my background is different again. I realized I didn't like it. I put up last episode one of my paintings and then a few others in the back, and I decided, you know what, I feel like it didn't look that cohesive, but I did put up a different print. This one here is a screen print I made a while back, and then one of the postcards. This one, ooh, that one is still there, but yeah, so the background has changed again. Don't be surprised if it might change next episode again, but anyways, I'll just get started. So the first finished object that I have, and sort of like a work in progress, is what I'm wearing right now. I'm not wearing any knitwear, like a garment because it's 95 degrees out in Kyoto. Like every day it's been so excruciatingly hot. I can't even describe it to you. Like, I step outside and I'm just like dripping in sweat. It's just insufferable. So this is what you're gonna get today. But Sari Nordlund put out a pattern recently called the Ebba scarf. Ebba scarf, I think it is. And that's what I'm wearing right now. I'll take it off. It is just a mini little scarf. This is made with Knitting for Olive merino, and it's their soft silk mohair on 4mm needles. This is in the color Plum Clay, and it's got this really pretty lace pattern. It's from her like newest, I think she made a vest and like a skirt or something, but I've had some leftover Knitting for Olive and soft silk mohair from my Alex hood, which I finished a while back, and I was like, oh, I think this will be perfect. I still have a lot left over. I could have made the long version. I tried to like measure out how much yarn I have left by like the grams, but I think I calculated something wrong. I was like, oh, I'll like barely have enough for the short version, but I think I could have made 2 long versions by now, so whatever. But it was super simple. The way it works is you can put it around your head, and then there's like a little hole here with so it's I-cord on one edge, and then you just like slip it through, and I feel like it's super cute. I've been kind of into making scarves lately in the summer, because obviously sweaters is not exactly the move, but I do have one later. But I don't know, I feel like this is really cute. It was super simple. I like how it was skinny, and I like the triangle scarves, but I find that I feel like they're kind of hard to wear, but I feel like this is perfect for a summer day. Maybe not when it's 95 degrees out, but maybe if it gets a little cooler out, or in the winter, and if I can just like keep this in my bag just in case I get really cold. So this is the short version, and I guess this sort of ties into my works in progress because I have another one on the needles. I'm gonna make the long version this time because, I don't know, I thought I'd give it a shot. Ooh, it's really tangled. This is just a white one. This is possibly the softest thing I've ever made. This is a combination of Cascade Heritage, which is already very soft. This is probably the softest sock yarn I've tried, but it does pull a lot, so keep that in mind. So I thought it would be perfect because I had a little left over for a scarf, and I purchased some Isager mohair, which I wound up. And this is definitely the softest mohair I've ever used. To compare it to the Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair, they're both very soft, but I feel like the Knitting for Olive has this sort of like dry feeling to it, whereas the Isager one has this like sort of more moist feeling, if that makes sense. It like doesn't feel as dry, and I definitely think if I were to use Isager mohair again, I would be very happy. For like a sweater, obviously it'd be pretty expensive, but if you're looking for a really high quality mohair, I think I would definitely recommend the Isager one. I don't know what color this is off the top of my head, but I'll have everything like usual linked in the description if you're interested in checking it out. I guess if you're curious about the construction of the scarf, you start off like most of her scarf patterns, or just like most triangle scarves, I guess. Start off at the beginning and then increase, and then this one you place some stitches on hold in an I-cord, and then you keep going with the pattern, and then you just like decrease and do the same thing. Yeah, it's very simple. It's just been a really mindless project. I think this lace pattern is very simple compared to her poet scarf, which I think I had to pay a little bit more attention to, but this one is very intuitive and I'm really enjoying it. I realized this was like a really big mistake on my part, but I was gonna make this blue because I really wanted a blue scarf and a brown scarf, and as you can see, one is white and one is brown. I bought this mohair. I have a part-time job at a yarn store, so I brought it there. I was like, oh, I'm gonna pick out a nice mohair to go with this blue yarn that I have. And I was like, oh, this white would look really good with it. But somehow in my mind, it just like wasn't computing that it would be like a heather texture. I don't know like what came over me. And so I started knitting it up in this like blue and this white. And I was like, I hate this heather texture. So I ended up going with the white. And now I feel like everything I make is brown or white. So I'm trying my best to branch out to other colors besides brown, white, and gray. But that is a little bit difficult for me, but I guess besides brown and white, I do use a lot of pinks and blues. I don't know, I kind of give myself a hard time for it. I'm like, I feel like I should use other colors, but then I think about it again and I'm like, I do really like wearing pinks, blues, whites, browns, and grays, and if I knitted something a different color and I wasn't gonna end up wearing it, then what's the point? So I don't know. I'm thinking about it still, but yeah, that was my first finished object and sort of whip, I guess. The next finished object that I have was something that I did show in my last podcast, which are my ZigZag socks. I do forget the pattern designer. I'll also have that linked below, but here they are. It's just another simple lace pattern. These were cuffed down socks on 2.25 millimeters using drops Fabel in, I think, like pink or something like that, some pink color. But heel flap and gusset, wedge toe, very standard, nothing too exciting. I was debating, I think last episode, or maybe not, whether to do a 72 stitch one or 64 stitch one. I ended up going with 64. And it ends up being okay. I think 72 would have also been okay. I think right in the middle would have probably been perfect, but whatever, it's okay. But yeah, I have kind of mixed feelings about this yarn. It's obviously very inexpensive, so there's not like, I didn't really have really high expectations, but it is a little bit scratchy, so if you're sensitive to wool, I probably wouldn't recommend these as much as something a little bit softer. Like if you're really sensitive, maybe the Cascade Heritage would be a really good choice if you don't mind it pilling that much. But yeah, it does just have that little bit of a scratchy feeling to it compared to, I think like an opal sock yarn is probably like right in the good spot of very hardy, but also like not that scratchy. One thing that I did try with this sock that really isn't that big of a deal, but I was kind of getting bored like halfway through because I don't know, it just like felt so simple. I was like kind of getting bored. Sometimes when I have something a little more complex, I feel like I have a lot more to think about and I get excited to do the next row, if that makes sense. But I decided to do, usually I do one stitch and then like a decrease and then one stitch for the gusset shaping, or is it the heel flap shaping? I think it's the gusset shaping. But this time I decided to do 3 stitches because this is like a 3-stitch motif, so I thought that would be interesting. You really can't tell, honestly. It's just kind of there, but I still really enjoy it though. I feel like it's cute. So yeah, these are my new pair of socks. I definitely recommend the pattern. It's super easy, simple, but it definitely looks more complicated than it actually is. So, I have my box of all my socks, which is really satisfying. I say this every episode, but I look at them a lot, so there it is. Next whip, I guess finished object whip. I'm not really sure what you call this. Half finished object is another sock. I don't know if I had this cast on last time. I don't think so. But this is a new sock. I didn't follow a pattern for this. I sort of mashed up a lot of things into this one sock. I guess I'll start off with the yarn first. I used Drops Nord, so it's the alpaca wool nylon base sock yarn. Super soft, I'm really enjoying it. I think the gray version of it was actually not as soft as this tan version, but as I said before, this is not following a pattern, but I was really obsessed with picot edges. Like one day or one night actually, like I couldn't fall asleep because I was actually just thinking of the picot edge. Like something about it, I really wanted to try it so bad. I feel like I'm kind of really obsessed with it currently. I can't really tell you why. I don't know, it just like kind of reminds me of my childhood and I really like it. But anyways, I cast it on 64 stitches and I made a picot edge. I knit it together. And I have this motif here, which I looked at I think the Summerlee like Sunday or Sunnyside. Ooh, I don't know. Socks. I don't have the pattern, but I kind of just looked at it and was like, I think this is what it looks like. And so I did 2 rows of that with like color work. This was the opal sock yarn I used in my Una socks. Then I just did stockinette. I did a heel flap and gusset with a partridge heel and garter stitch. And then another Summerlee pattern that I didn't purchase, but I kind of just looked at and was like, that's like kind of a good idea. Like very sport type socks where they have the like structured thing for the ball of your, is that what you call it? Like the middle part of your foot is very structured. And then it's got this seed stitch. I feel like it just, I don't know. I didn't want it to be completely stockinette because I knew I'd get really bored of it. So I put in some I'm really obsessed with seed stitch. Like I just like feeling it is so fun. I don't really know. I really enjoy this. I don't know. I feel like it's a really cool sock. Obviously, I don't know, it's my first time not really following a pattern for a sock, and I'm pretty happy with it. I'm really excited to make the other one. I feel like these colors look really good together, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm really happy with this sock. So yeah, there's that. Sort of, do you call this a finished object or would you call it a whip? Because this is technically finished, but it is half of the sock. So here's half a sock or half a pair. Anyways, next whip that I have is something that I've talked about before, but it is my I haven't made much progress on this really recently, but more progress than last episode, so I will talk about it. But it's my Northern Augustins number 7, I think. It is a colorwork yoke sweater with 2 strands of or 2 strands held together. One is Sunday by Sandus Garne, and then the other is the Drops mohair. It just looks like that. I'm working on this color work motif on the bottom now. I think last time I didn't even split for the sleeves. And my goodness, when I tell you I had so much problems splitting for the sleeves, I really mean it. I spent so long. I don't know why it gave me some trouble. I think it's because I have the inability. I'm not able to count right, like most of the time. I just like, sometimes my brain just like goes off and I miss something, and then, so basically, when you split for the sleeves, before you split for them, you kind of have a solid row here. So after I split for the sleeves, when you're trying to make the new motif in the repeat, I just kept messing up and the count wasn't lining up, and I was really confused because I thought I had counted right. I would like count the stitches and it would be correct, and then I'd do the pattern and it wasn't correct. And so I ended up redoing it like 3-4 separate times, and I just like was so fed up. I ended up when I was doing this color work motif here, I put a stitch marker after every 11 stitches, which is the repeat, just to make sure I was doing it right. And still, like, it just wasn't lining up in the end, so I decided to just, I think I just knit 3 together like once or twice or something, and it kind of just solved the problem. So yeah, I'm currently working on the body. I really love the pattern. It's so pretty. And I love the yarn as well. I think the Drops Kid Silk is pretty soft in these 2 colors, at least I know. I think it can vary a little bit between different colors. So I'd keep that in mind if you're trying to use Drops Kid Silk. But I've had good experiences so far. I love the pattern. It's pretty intuitive once you get into it. Besides, like, starting. Yeah, I feel like I don't have much to say about it. I haven't made a bunch of progress recently because it's really hot outside and because I've just been so obsessed with some other knits that I've been working on. But I do want to get this done relatively soon because, or at least the body. I don't know, that'd make me really happy. I am thinking about doing a picot edge bottom. That's how obsessed I am. I saw a sweater, I think on Instagram or TikTok or somewhere, of someone did, I think it was like a yarn over and then knit 2 together, like a lace. And then right after that, they did like a picot edge and it looked so cute. And I was like, oh, I feel like that'd be really cute if I finished off this sweater with that. Because I don't know, I don't feel that attached to doing like a 1x1 rib on this one for some reason. It just like, I don't know. I feel like a picot edge would go well with it. I don't know, let me know your thoughts on that. I think though for the sleeves, I would still do the 1x1 because I think sleeves is more, I'd like it to be a little bit tighter. So I don't know, I'm still thinking about that. I'll get there when I get there. Hopefully soon, but I don't know. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this project. The last whip that I have, let me go get it. This is the last whip that I have, and it is my first self-drafted pattern. I've never self-drafted anything before. I guess I did the sock, but I feel like that's not as... Socks I feel like are really easy to do on your own, but once you have like a base pattern. But currently I'm freehanding this tank top. I want this to be, my envision in my mind is that it's like up to the bra point here, it's like tight fitting, and then it's gonna have these gathers and like go out, if that makes sense. Maybe I'll put some inspiration pictures here, but I'm kind of going for that. And then at the bottom we'll have more gathers and then like a garter edge finishing. I started this about a week ago and I got really obsessed with it. I guess I'll talk about the construction and how I figured it out, I guess. I have this tank top. I think I bought this at, oh, there's like fuzz all over, but I bought this at Brandy Melville like quite a while ago. I think it's inside out right now, but it fits super, super well and I really, really like it. So I've decided to use that as like a guide when I'm making it. And so I first knitted the straps, and then on this side of the straps, I put a little bit of increases, as well as this side. And so I knitted that, and then I attached for the front, I believe. I casted on some stitches, and I worked the front back and forth flat with increases on either side. And then I picked up for the back. I just did a regular, long tail cast on for these straps. So I just picked up stitches and literally you can't really tell that much, so I don't really care. And then I worked some short rows so that the back would be higher than the front. And I did the same exact increases till it got about to the same stitch count. And then I casted on, I think like 6 or 8 stitches, and then started knitting in the round. I don't know if that was the best explanation for how I made this so far, but I've tried it on a few times. It's fitting really well, and I'm really excited about it. I'll talk about the yarn. I feel like I'm speaking very fast this episode, but I just have a lot of stuff that I'm really excited to talk about. I purchased 3 skeins of pure, not really pure silk yarn from Kin no Hitsuji, which is pretty close to where I live. It's a yarn shop in Kyoto. They have a lot of wool for spinning, and I think they like specialize in just like wool or materials in general for spinning, but they do also have their own yarn, and it's relatively cheap. So a 100-gram skein of this is about 850 meters, I believe, and each one was like 1,300 yen, so that's about $9, I believe, $8, something like that, so pretty good. I would say though that a fingering weight, you need to hold it double, so that's still pretty good for the amount of yarn you're getting. I got it in this plain white color. It's super soft and it feels really luxurious, and I'm holding it with leftover alpaca folgotrad. Just looks like this. It's the alpaca lace suede, and the fabric I feel like is coming out super nice. It's extremely soft and it just has a slight halo, which is exactly what I was going for. The annoying part is I was like, oh, I'm gonna use my leftover alpaca folgotrad, it'll be great, but I'm gonna need to buy more for this project now, so I'm probably gonna have leftover from the leftover, and it definitely won't be in the same dye lot, so I'm kind of concerned, but I'm also like, it's such a light color, I feel like it won't really matter. I'm not really sure. I'll have to order it, and the annoying thing is I can't order it. I think I originally ordered it from Linda Hobby, which is a I think they're based in Copenhagen, and they don't ship to Japan. So, and I really like to finish this before Flock. I'm going to be going to Flock Fiber Festival in Seattle when I go back, so I'm really excited about that, and I really want to wear this if it turns out well there. And to finish it beforehand, I'll need it to buy the yarn here. I don't know if I'll be able to finish it. I don't think I'll be able to finish it before I go, but you know what, that's okay. But here it is. It's going well so far. I'm debating how I want to knit the gathers. I've tried doing some research on how to knit gathers, and I think it's just like rapid increasing, but I'm just like kind of confused as to what increase techniques I should use. Should I use like a just make one left right kind of thing, or should I do like knit regularly and then knit in the back loop of the same stitch to increase it? I don't know. If you know any solutions for how to make gathers, I'd love to know. I think in the back as well, I'll make more gathers so that it like in the back a little bit more, and then maybe I'll add some short rows so that the silhouette will be like, the front will be like this high and then the back will be like a little bit lower. I feel like that'd be kind of cute. Another thing that I will talk about is the edging. I tried to do a folded over like knit stockinette and fold down, and just like wasn't really looking right, so I think I'm gonna go back to doing a double knitted edged all the way around, which I don't know, I was kind of hesitant to do it because I find double knitting doesn't have that much stretch to it, which is a good and bad thing, I guess, but I'll just have to be really careful. I think my solution is going to be to knit the double knitted edging on the inside first, so then I can gauge how loose I want these underarms, because when I made the square neck camisole, I think they were just a tiny bit too tight on the inside, but we'll see. I feel like the color is also really pretty. It's like kind of got this cool toned, it's like not exactly white, not cream, but yeah, there's that project. It looks like a bra right now and it fits like a bra, so that was my last project for now. I have one other thing that I wanted to share, which is Where did I put it? Hold on. Okay. It's in my little knitting case that I have here. I bought it from Ting Knitting in Taiwan. I think it's in here. Yes, okay. The other week, oh goodness. I have just all my stitch markers in here. Maybe I'll make a video about knitting supplies soon. Oh, I think I might have stepped on this. There's like a dent in it. I probably stepped on it. Anyways, about 1 week ago, I don't know, some time ago, the yarn store that I work at, Rosa Pomar came to visit. I'm not sure if you know who she is, but she's the one who created the yarn brand with like the little grandma tattooed on the front, and like Mondim, or like I forget the other names, but pretty well known. She came by and visited. Unfortunately, I wasn't there that day, which like really makes me upset because I would have loved to meet her, but they did give me something. I mean, it's not very much, but it's this. I never heard of Portuguese knitting style before, and my like boss was telling me about it, and they have the yarn around their head, and then the yarn is like going like this, and then you use your thumb when you're purling, and they like when they do the patterns in like Portuguese, like the Portuguese knitting style, they're totally different because they'd rather work on like the opposite side. They'd do purling instead of like knitting. I think that's what it is. So when she writes patterns, she writes two different versions, one for like regular style knitting, and then one for Portuguese style knitting, which I thought was so fascinating. And I was given this pin that she gifted to our store, and I think they're selling them as well. But you can like pin it here if you don't want to put it around your neck, and then put the yarn like that, and then it like will tension it for you while you're knitting on the wrong side with your like thumb. I thought that was so cool. I don't really like poking things in my shirt and like pulling down on them, so I've never tried this pin, but I thought I'd share it. I've tried the over the head sort of approach, and that was really fun. I haven't gotten used to it. I think the problem as well is that sometimes like my neck gets sweaty, especially in the summer, so that's hasn't been that successful. And then I don't really know what to do when I get to the right side, because then I get to the right side and I need the tension to go that way, so I have to take it off my neck. And then if you have like two strands or like mohair, I don't know. It's very fascinating to me. I think it's very cool. I wish I could have seen her do it live, or someone who does Portuguese style knitting. I think that'd be pretty cool. Let me know if you use Portuguese style knitting. I'd love to hear about it. I haven't, because I think on YouTube most people do just like English and continental, and I've never heard anyone talk about Portuguese style knitting, and I thought I would share that if you've never heard of it. So yeah, that's my little free acquisition that I got, besides the yarn I've bought for my other projects. But I think this might be the last episode before I leave for home, Oregon. Maybe I'll film one more before I leave, before Flock, but I'll definitely film a podcast when I get back, and then probably after Flock as well, because I'll probably end up buying some yarn. Actually, well, I definitely will. But yeah, that was it for this episode. I'm really happy with all my whips. Hopefully the next time I talk about my self-drafted tank top thing, it'll be like mostly complete and I'll be satisfied with it, because I just like spent so much time last night trying to figure out what I wanted to do for the edging. But yeah, hopefully everything will go well, and let me know whatever projects you're working on. I'd love to know. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.